Hello everyone, I'm John Higgins. This is PNG Tonight. Coming up, over 70 representatives are in Port Moresby reviewing where we are with climate change and what we need to do going forward. The Loofah Mushroom Project in the Eastern Highlands stands to be revived, a commitment from the provincial government. And the SMEs policy and the master plan with 200 million kina each year, how does it translate to results? Over 70 provincial representatives on climate change are in Port Moresby tonight. Together with other stakeholders, they are reviewing Papua New Guinea's status on climate change to be presented to the United Nations as required under our obligations. I talked to the Acting Managing Director of Climate Change and Development Authority, Joe Pokana. Thank you, sir, for coming onto the program again. We talked about climate change, weather and all that not long ago, and Fiji is in the middle of it. We'll talk about that a little later on. But in PNG, you have a meeting going with representatives from the provinces. What are you talking about? Tell me about that.
Yes, this week in the last 2 days, we have been running a program called the National Communication and Biannual Report as a commitment to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And as a party or member, we have to provide our status of climate change adaptation and also how we are doing with mitigation, how we are reducing our greenhouse gas.
Okay.
So we are bringing these people here to build the capacity as well in order for them to understand what climate change is and also to help us to collect those information that we need to put in.
Is that an annual thing?
It's 2 years for biannual report and then 4 years for national communication. So there's 2 different reports that we are preparing. This 2 days meeting is for preparation only and capacity building.
Okay, and then at the end of that, you do all the compilation and get the report to the UN? Or what
yes, this would be the 3rd national communication. We have done the first one in 2000. We submit the first one.
Okay.
It was not really good because we don't have the database that collect those data. We have to go to different stakeholders or sectors to collect those data. And then we have our second one 15 years later. In last year we submit that one. So you see it took us a very long time to actually have a good system that can report. We still are struggling with data. And with the passing of our Climate Change Management Act, it requires now the key sectors to provide those greenhouse gas inventory. If they don't, they have to put new technology in that can record those greenhouse gas from their operation, both public and private sectors.
Okay, and those at the conference, at the meeting right now, who are they? And are they abreast of climate change and what's going on? And can they articulate that well into that report you're talking about?
Yes, we are hoping that they will be able to.
Based on the fact that, you know, it's...
But, most of them, they know what climate change is, and they are representative from the provincial environment, disaster, climate change unit in respective provinces. And then we have the national sector who also represented in the meeting also. So maybe we are not talking about 70, maybe it swells up to about 100 participants who are involved here.
Yeah. And apart from provincial representation, what other stakeholders, if you will, are part of this?
Okay, we have the National Weather Service, we have the PNG Power, we have the mining, we have the agriculture, forestry, environment, fisheries. They are all part of that particular meeting as well. So we are not only looking at greenhouse gas, but on the policy aspect as well. So, all the phase of providing credible data and have a system that can collect this greenhouse gas, that's what we are looking at as well. So, we are trying our best to build capacity and do awareness, but it takes a long time to actually have a good system that can run. And hopefully with this training, we can be able to have a system that actually can provide us those data.
Well, you've got the start
Yeah.
in place now. You work, and I guess with greenhouse and its consequences, we don't have to look far to look at examples of its devastating consequences. Fiji, just a couple of days ago, some nearly 28, 29, 30 dead, destruction worth millions.
Yeah.
It could happen to us.
Yes, and that's what we are working towards. We have a program that also is looking at that. It's called Building Resilience to Climate Change, which it's a 73 million kina
Building
project.
resilience.
Yeah, building resilience to climate change. We are looking at food security, and we are also looking at national disaster, how preparedness we are in terms of real time. Do we have a system that can tell us that within 5 minutes the tsunami will hit or the storm will hit? You know,
Do we have that?
Yeah, we should have a system that can.
But do we have that?
Yeah, we are working with Digicel and also B-Mobile to see how we can use the telecommunication to help us to, produce that real-time warning system for us.
Yes, yes. And of course, at home, we've got continuous rain in the Highlands Highway in trouble.
Yeah.
The National Weather Office says, Sam Maha says, it's the beginning.
Yeah, I think it will continue to get worse. The scientists have told all the countries that this climate change will get worse. If it's not happening regularly, when one happens, it's very big. And that's what it's in the news in Fiji.
Yes.
It's unavoidable. It just come, if they are prepared or not, it will come.
Oh, it'll get you. And for us, I suppose it's not so much the destruction, the human tragedies that we will think about. It's a huge economic issue as well.
Yes, that's why we need to be a bit more proactive, provide the information for people to build their own capacity to understand that if this thing happen, it will be, devastating, and we really need to be prepared ourselves as individuals. You need those information that you can decide to move to safety before it really happen.
Okay, well, in your case, I guess you're doing the right thing to prepare yourself for it. Joe Pokana, thank you very much for talking to us.
Oh, it's a pleasure talking in this show. Yeah.
Joe Pokana, the Acting Managing Director of Climate Change and Development Authority. After the break, good news for mushroom farmers of Lufa in the Eastern Highlands province.